Hey everyone, welcome to Family Meeting, the podcast where we get shit done. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Jessie.
Yeah, it's been a while
Oh
since we've
God.
done this.
I know our last one was January 27th, and it is officially January. Nope.
It's not officially January.
It's February 17th.
It's crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
We
that's
fucked
1 month
up.
minus 10 days. The cool thing though is that we're wearing cans, as they call it in the industry now, with cans on,
It
so
makes
we
me
can.
self conscious of my hair.
Well, you look great. You look
Thanks.
beautiful.
I mean, for the people listening on podcasts,
Yeah, they're
they
fine.
don't
You can't
care.
just assume that your hair looks great. I
Phenomenal.
think it looks fine. So let's get started. I think we should just jump right into it.
All right.
So we were just discussing a topic that we wanted to talk about today, and it's something that I feel like has come up not like a little bit in our lives, but also in the lives of like other people we might know. It's just a
Yeah. I
common
feel like
thing.
it's very common, but I feel like we've actually, as a couple, been asked this question
Yes, for sure.
multiple times actually, which is kind of nice that I feel like people feel comfortable coming to us
Hmm.
for, I guess, relationship advice.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we've been together so long at this point,
Shut up.
but no, it's true. I mean, we are kind of a go-to. We're married. We're happy. I'd ask
I'd
us for
probably lead
advice.
with that part.
But yeah, so what we want to talk about is when you and your spouse have different interests
Not just spouse, but significant
or
other.
significant other. Yeah, I apologize. I'm so used to being married to you, I guess, at this
No,
point. I know nothing but spouses. Yeah, and
but
so,
spouses.
okay. Yeah, that's what we wanted to do today. We want to talk about when you have different interests because I feel like especially if it's someone that you haven't, I guess, like didn't know when you were younger, or maybe
Mhm.
you met them more recently or something,
Right.
you didn't come up in the same space. Like we went to college together, so
So
that overlap is a little bit more.
what I was gonna say about this is that most people meet at a common interest. So like we met at college because we were studying
Yes.
the same thing. People meet at book clubs, or I don't know if that was stupid. Do people really
Yeah, they
mean?
like books.
No, or a brewery because they like beer, or
Hmm.
you know, through friends that
Like at the
have
same
like
party or something.
mutual
Yeah.
interests. So most people are starting a relationship off of something that is mutual.
Uh-huh.
So when differences arrive,
Waiting for that. Yeah. Well, yeah, but when they arise, um,
it can kind of be like startling, or
yeah,
you just don't
like you don't
expect
like
it.
this person, you don't like this comedian or whatever. How weird.
Right.
Yeah. It almost, I'm curious how people actually meet under circumstances that like they don't share common interest. That's also weird to me. But like if someone met, they it wasn't like through a common like whatever. They
Hmm.
didn't meet at the concert. They met completely by chance and then started dating. Didn't realize they didn't have anything in common until a week or a month into the relationship or something. But
All right.
anyway, so yeah, I guess what's your kind of I don't know, like what hurdles have you seen or maybe experienced with me or something? Like what's on your mind when it
Well,
comes to this topic? Because
um,
I'm sure we have a lot to mine here.
so I know that I have different interests than you do.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the most like glaring one, like the most like even outsiders can see this, is
Mhm.
our taste in music.
Oh yeah.
And it's not that I don't like really it's not that I don't like any type of music. I like all music.
Hmm.
Um, but I think the biggest example for me and my family is Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, I would have never
I don't think
discovered that if not for you
right.
specifically.
Right. And I mean, we have really strong ties to Jimmy Buffett.
Hmm.
And I mean, we're full blown parrot heads. So you coming from not that lifestyle
Yeah.
being, forced into my family.
I think to like growing up, just going off of like how something like that kind of manifests itself because it was in your family. It was
Mhm.
something that you like grew up with. I grew up with like parents with no interest in
Mhm.
any particular. I mean, my dad a little bit, but like for the most part, no like hardcore interest in anything particular. So I had to like find it for
Mhm.
myself. Um, which then is why like well, I guess it ties into like not only just my taste in music, but like, I like to go to concerts and whatnot. And sometimes I go out and maybe we both don't have like the strength or like
Mhm.
the will to do that
Mhm.
night. Um,
Well, let's not go too far off of this topic
oh
though.
yeah, yeah, true.
So, my family loves Jimmy Buffett. I mean, I forced you to come to a concert
Yeah.
and
It was in
but
Las
like
Vegas for one, so
right,
that
right.
was an added benefit.
So, I mean, we never had that like conversation of turn this off or I don't want to listen to that music. It was just kind of like we we shared equally um radio time, I guess,
Yeah.
in our relationship. So it was like you heard it. We listened to it more obviously as the concert was coming
Yeah.
closer. But what is it like
I
being on
binged it.
that end of like I am enjoying something and you are experiencing
In
it?
this particular instance, it was funny because I felt like I had like a job to do. Like I didn't want to let your family down or seem like I didn't know what I was talking about. Not a lot of people have this privilege, but at work I was able to like listen
Mm.
to a bunch of Jimmy Buffett in preparation. And so I think one thing that I think we can both pride ourselves on is that like I wasn't like averse to like listening to something like Jimmy Buffett because I saw how much it made you happy and how much it made your family happy, how much like how important it was to you guys. And so I let myself be open to that. And I
Mhm.
kind of buckled down and at times forced myself to
Mhm.
listen. But in the end, I really enjoyed it. I mean, I did grow up like a fan of Dave Matthews Band, which in terms of fandom and just like feeling, it's not far off. So there's a little bit of it in there. But yeah, no, I think coming like from my side of things, I'm naturally open to like new things, and
Mhm.
so it's easy for me. I'm a music snob, but I'm not gonna shut myself off from something I haven't heard yet or haven't given a chance.
Right. I think that you just said something that's very important is being open-minded.
Hmm.
And in any situation of having different interests, being open-minded and I think understanding even if you don't like it,
Hmm.
but being understanding that, the person that I care for cares for this, not that I have to care for it.
Right.
I'm trying to think of something that you have
Well,
that I don't care for.
I have something that you have that I don't care for.
Okay, what is it?
I have that feeling when you listen to like modern day country music.
Okay.
Not that I hate it. I'm not like, ugh, but I definitely am like, you know what? This is for her and I love her. And that's okay. Like I
Yeah.
definitely am like open to letting you have that in the car when we're driving sometimes. Um, and I think it is also a matter too of me like, or both of us realizing that as much as we will tolerate maybe something that we don't like of someone
Mhm.
else's and it's completely harmless. So it's like, why are we fighting it?
Mhm.
It's also realizing like, oh, for example, we're 3 hours into the 6 hour car trip. You've had 3 hours of country
Mhm.
music. Oh, let's halfway, let's change it or something like,
Mhm.
just being conscious of balance.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing.
Yeah.
That's the only rule in my head. But
I have like compromise down.
yeah, so that's exactly I think that segues perfectly is that you have to one be tolerant and open
Mhm.
minded, but also know when to not put your foot down, but compromise on these things and
Right. So,
meet
okay,
halfway.
speaking of like knowing when to put your foot down, I am to the point of my life where I just don't enjoy being in the pit of a concert
Yes.
anymore. I used to love it. Like we used to do Warp Tour, we used to do I mean, what was it like 2 years ago we did Run the Jewels.
Yeah.
And I can do like little bits, but it wasn't all day. Like it was
Yeah.
just, this
We
like
were probably
little
at that set for 20 minutes,
right,
which was
right.
nice.
So I mean I can still hang
Yeah.
if I really want to. Like I'll do it for Run the Jewels. But like I just can't do a front row Nine Inch Nails concert where I'm standing there for 4 hours I can't do it anymore. I have no desire to do it anymore. Do I want to see Nine Inch Nails? Yes, I'd love to. If I'm in the nosebleed sitting down.
I did when Lyndon and I went to the last show in December. We were in the pit, and I started to really feel it. Like at first, I was like, I'll go in the seats whenever you're there, but thinking like, but if she's not there, I could definitely be in the
Hmm.
pit. And yeah, a good few hours in, I was like, oh, this is awful for my feet. And
Hmm.
then the show started, and people getting to the age, and just slightly off topic for a second because it relates to it, but like where I'm noticing all the things that annoy me
Okay.
or bother me in a way that like makes me want to stop doing things. So
Oh,
for
yeah.
example, yeah, that's another thing that I'm like, this
Well,
might be
that's a good point is that interests, as you age or as you evolve, your
mm-hmm.
interests will also evolve.
Yeah.
So that's something that if you're in a long term relationship, you have to also be aware of and also be willing to
Yeah.
be malleable in. But yeah, so that was just an example of like, for me, like knowing when to give up.
Yeah, because
Like, I'm not going to
you've
compromise
said,
on that anymore.
yeah,
I won't, but
can't
I'm
do
not
that.
going to prevent you
Mm-hmm.
from doing that. So I think that's now my compromise. So my compromise have evolved. So it's not we went to a Buffett concert, I'll go to,
Yeah.
you know, X concert with you. It's we went to a Buffett concert. You can go to that other concert by
Yeah.
yourself or with another friend.
Well, and that actually segues nicely into something I wanted to talk about is like knowing when to have separate lives,
Mm-hmm.
because that's a huge thing with people with different interests.
Yeah.
Someone gives up and is just like, well, if they can't be there, then I guess I won't do these things that I love to do. And
Mm.
sometimes it's indicative of the other person who is like holding them back from like going out to a concert. Like this perfect example is I went with Lyndon because you're
Mm-hmm.
like, for one, it's at the Palladium, which is all standing room. And so it's just not, the VIP section's like up
Mm-hmm.
top and weird. And I'm like, I don't want to go up there. And you're like, yeah, just go. So I like literally spent all day with someone else at a pretty like big event to me, and it was totally fine that you weren't there. I don't know if at the beginning of our relationship I would have had the maturity
Mm-hmm.
to do that, but yeah, I definitely think that it's super important to also know like I guess when to cut the cord
Mm-hmm.
because some people in relationships are super clingy like that or
Well, yeah, yeah,
super
yeah. And I feel like, especially in the beginning of a relationship, you want to spend every second with that person
yeah.
because it's still new. You're still in that honeymoon phase.
And now we're not. No, but I
No, no,
do.
no. But having that's just showing like the maturity and growth of a relationship when you
Mhm.
don't have to spend every second of the day with that other person. You can
Yeah,
continue to, you know,
you can go
do things
out.
on your own. But I do think it's important in a relationship to if I do feel like you around or just being I don't know what I'm saying. I
Well,
have a
no,
specific thing in
I can't
mind.
think of the word either, but I do know what you mean. Just like if you feel like well, I guess it kind of goes back to the putting your foot down thing.
Hmm.
If it's like you feel like I don't want this anymore, I
Hmm.
don't want to be like out
Hmm.
right now, or just like I don't want to go out like on a
Hmm.
Thursday night anymore. Even though you have friends who go out like every, I don't know, Thursday night. That's a weird example. But point being is that, yeah, like you have to kind of recognize when maybe something isn't for you, but for someone else.
Hmm. Well, there was something that you said that could go both ways, and I'm like trying to figure out a way to like. One, I'm trying to figure out what you said. But it was something along the lines of like when you want to do something and then the other person's holding you back.
Oh, yeah.
Like a lot of the times it's not the other person holding you back. It's
It's
you
I
holding you
guess your
back.
insecurity about,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Cuz I mean there's something specific that I have in mind that I'm trying not to say.
Hmm.
And I feel like in that situation someone's holding themselves back from doing the things that they want to do
Yeah.
because of feeling the need to being together for things,
Yeah.
but the other person feels more open and free from doing to do things on their own.
Exactly. I get you.
Okay.
No, but I think also, yeah, and I'll always invite you to things and
Oh, thanks.
never expect you
Yeah.
to be there. I guess is my thing. Like you don't have to be included in everything, but I'll always see if you want to be, and
Yeah.
kind of expect the
Yeah,
same
I
back.
think that's important
Um,
to
and I'm weird. I love it when you go out with friends,
yeah.
and I'm just like get to chill home because I know you're having fun, and you get to have like an
Mhm.
experience of your own. Um, and speaking of insecurity too, I think over time when you're in a relationship that you trust the other person,
Mhm.
you begin to realize just how much of that insecurity like goes away.
Mhm.
When we first got together, I was pretty insecure relationship wise. One, I hadn't really been in like a serious relationship in a while, especially like something that became long term. And all the other ones kind of ended weirdly. So I was very kind of clingy for a little bit, and then it started to die off. And after a certain point, I was just like,
Well, that's funny because I feel like
live
it
your
it
life.
died off when we were forced to be apart for a long time because I got a job where I was working
Oh yeah,
far
that's true.
away and like having a big commute and always working, and then I was working through the weekends.
Mhm.
And so you worked Monday through Friday and I worked, what was it, like
Thursday through Monday or something or whatever.
through the weekend. So we didn't see each other as much. And I think maybe like forcing yourself to do that
Yeah.
helped. But I do want to
Didn't
ask
even
you a
have a puppy
question.
at the time. I
I
had to
know, you were
occupy
all by
myself.
yourself.
This is
All the
rough.
way out in Glendale.
Glendale. Oh my goodness. What am I to do?
Okay,
Where's it?
so that happened. We started to get over that fairly early in our relationship.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the cutoff that like you're when
Mm.
how long can you be in a relationship where you're fully like dependent or like there's still no mutual understanding that we can have different interests?
I mean, if I'm going off of really our timeline is the only one I can
Mhm.
judge. But like you said, we're in special
Mhm.
circumstances. I can't. Okay, so my gut tells me I can't see anyone being in a relationship for like more than 2 years
Mhm.
without that happening. Any more than two
Without
years
under the
literally feels
understanding of being
yes.
okay with having separate interests.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Getting over that insecurity.
Mhm.
I don't know, 2 years because I can see like year one,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
new.
Yeah.
Year two is the transition period. If
Mhm.
by the beginning of year three, you're
Mhm.
still not to that point, I don't know what to tell
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. Yeah, I would say like 2.5 to 3 years. That's a long time for a relationship.
I guess that is, yeah.
That is a long time, but you have to consider that it could, for us, the first 6 months were definitely like a honeymoon phase
Hmm.
of our relationship, not of our marriage. We're talking about from the time we
Yeah, from
started dating.
dating.
So then the first year, once you get through that first year,
Hmm.
so by a year and a half, to me, you should kind of have like a year of kind of figuring each other out.
Hmm.
So I guess yeah, by 2 years, if you haven't
Because that's kind of was
been
for us.
like,
Because about 6 or so months in, you got the job that kept us kind of apart on the weekends. I imagine that was pretty early on.
oh, it was earlier than that. I got the job in April.
Oh, there we go. So even so,
Yeah.
yeah, I think
So yeah, by
2
2
years.
years, if you're in a relationship right now that is over 2 years old and you haven't had a conversation with your significant other about the
Mhm.
fact that having different having different interests in your life is like
Affecting your yeah.
affecting your relationship, I
You
think
need
it's
to
time to
make like Jordan Peele and get out. That's what I say to
I was
them.
gonna say split because banana peel.
Oh, that's another good one.
No, I'm not saying get out of your relationship. I'm
Mm.
saying have a serious
Yeah,
conversation.
definitely
And
sit
if
them
this
down and.
is not something that you guys can work on together, that's
Hmm.
important together. Because I do feel like
That's
that's
unfortunate, but also yeah, you don't want to be like a 1960s marriage where suddenly like, and typically it's the man who just be like is just I'm just going to live my own life without having that conversation
mhm,
and just leave her behind and just do whatever I want.
yeah.
Like I said, I'll always invite you and just never.
I'll invite you like 80% of the time.
Yeah, that's true. If it's obvious that it's like oh, I'm going to
Do you
like
get to come out with
a
drinks
bridal
with Kayla and
shower.
I? No.
Exactly. But for the most part, if it's something that's more of a group thing, you
No,
want to go?
yeah, yeah,
No? All
yeah.
right, bye. So, I
But
mean,
I think for us, because we have had discussions like this,
we have.
we know what the other would be interested in and what the other would not be interested in.
So talk to your significant others
Yeah.
and get to know what
Yeah.
tickles their
How would you
fancy.
start this conversation though?
I don't know. Why don't you love me? I don't know. I really don't know. Like, that's a tough one to get into because it usually is born. Like we've had it, I think organically. We've also had it born out of conflict.
Right. And I think that it's I don't
One's
like
awkward and
having
one sucks.
right. I don't like having, and I've told you this, like I don't like having serious conversations sparked from conflict.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have a conflict and then immediately in that moment have that conversation because you're going to say things that you don't actually feel because you're internalizing other feelings
Yeah. It's usually just
about feeling attacked or feeling
projecting the whole
yeah, yeah.
time.
So I like conversations that start almost inorganically. Be like,
Yeah. Can we talk for a minute?
don't say that. That shit's
We need to
no.
talk.
No. No, I mean, I would probably come at it from the standpoint of um
Well,
I like going to Jimmy Buffett concerts and I've loved going to Nine Inch Nails concerts with you, but and then explain how I feel
mhm.
and say, I don't think I can go to any more concerts with you. Stop dragging me to them.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously a little bit more
a little nicer.
emotional and yeah.
No, and I think one thing I would know how to start it. I know how you would start it because you have like a way that you say things. You go, Andrew, I love you, and that's how you start off those conversations. I don't. I just don't have that,
No, you don't.
and you're better at that than I
Yeah.
am. Is what I'm
But
saying.
you are but that's also something that you are working on is
That's true.
starting conversations before the spark the conversation.
Trying to like bring up things that are on my mind or
Yeah.
whatnot. The
Yeah.
other, yeah. So I mean, exactly. So I think if it has to be awkward, make it awkward. It's better that you bring it up
Mhm.
at a time that you don't feel comfortable than bringing it up when you guys have been fighting about the exact
Yeah.
topic.
Ready to compromise, but also going in knowing what you want. It's almost like asking for a raise or
Yeah.
asking for a promotion. Go in knowing what you want,
Mm-hmm.
but also go in knowing what you're willing to compromise on.
Yeah.
So
Gotta have some wiggle room.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. I think
Let us know how you like this topic and if you can use it.
as
And
I
if you
saying,
do
it's
use
a
it,
common.
I think this one's very common.
It's a good one. Yeah.
We've talked to multiple couples about this specific topic. So
Yeah.
hopefully now we just put it out there in the universe. And if we've missed something or if you have a question, please let us know. Twitter.
People won't hesitate to
Instagram.
tell us.
I know, right? Fine.
Yeah. And I hope we've saved all of your relationships. You're welcome. Alrighty. So you have better notes from the last time we met, about 20 days ago.
Oh my God. Okay.
3
so
weeks. What were we supposed to do? What were you supposed to do? Let's go over our accomplishments and failures.
Right. So in January, my goal was to go on an audition.
Yes.
And I did.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. It was only one. I had a film audition that I should have done, and I didn't. But I did a musical audition, and it was a very interesting experience. But I'm so glad I did it.
Mm-hmm. We did do that.
Which sucked.
It did.
Um.
Although I do have to amend it, so maybe we will get more money back. Anyway, keep going.
More money back staying in our account is what he said.
That's what I mean.
But The Office, we're still in the middle of that, but we someday those of you on YouTube will see our office. We promise.
It looks great now. Well, it was pretty together, but then
now it's better.
You painted and everything. You made the desk look the way we wanted them to look. So now we have to do another clean and sweep. I'm excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
meal planning.
This makes me feel pretty good though. It seems like we've actually gotten done a lot of the things we set out to do.
Well, we still don't have a set schedule for training the dogs.
I know, and I keep thinking about that.
So I feel like we either need just a day out of the week that we
Mhm.
like normally how we would when Cadet was in puppy school, that would be like our thing, or we need to enroll them in class again. Like,
Yeah. I'm trying to avoid that one, but I also know that's the best.
right.
Or
At least
maybe
because
not the
that
best,
gives
it's
us the
more surefire.
right. So I don't know. That's something we're gonna have to discuss.
Tweet at us hashtag dog train yes or hashtag dog train no if we should enroll them in classes.
Jessie L. Norman.
Yeah, I think that we need to get better with our dogs in general. But you're right. But for the most part, I think that we've been honestly pretty good about our productivity. We've experienced a lot of ups and downs,
Yeah.
but we're forcing ourselves through it. What are some things that we feel we didn't accomplish in this time?
So I was supposed to get a daily routine together.
You just
I
That's-
have the hardest time. So I work from home, and I'm 30 years old and I still don't have, I mean, I don't have a routine. So when I was going into an office when I was working like for someone, when I was working for someone, it was easy because I woke up, I was in the
Mhm.
office by 7, off by I forget what time, come home, take the dogs out, you know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
had a schedule. When you work for yourself or you're a stay-at-home
Ooh.
mom, it's so difficult to be disciplined. And I think we've talked about this on a previous episode that
Yeah.
like I don't have that internal discipline. Um, but anxiety attack
Hmm.
and figured out what my schedule needs to be. I think it might need to be tweaked a little bit because I was thinking there's no I mean I literally broke it down like hour by hour
Yeah.
of what I need to be doing. Um, but I didn't put any time for lunch, didn't give myself a lunch.
Ooh.
Right, which is fine because I mean
Hard worker.
right, but it's like I'm working from home, so technically I can get up and eat whenever I want. But I feel like I need to give myself a lunch break.
Hmm.
I need to schedule out time for if I mean so okay, the thing I have like laundry. I have a 4-hour block where I'm working on my at-home real estate stuff.
Hmm.
If I need to do laundry, I know that it's what 10 minutes to put stuff in the dryer, 10,
Ish.
you know
Yeah.
what I mean? So it's like I can do that within that time and I'm going to lose maybe
15 minutes at
right.
most. Yeah.
Right. So it's like should I even schedule stuff like that? But then stuff like, sweeping and mopping, that cleaning a bathroom, that's going to take more than,
Hmm.
I think I need a little bit of like house time
Yeah.
in my schedule.
I think there's ways that you can kind of shift things around. Some people have be having 4 days a week is your normal working schedule. One day a
Oh,
week is cleaning, and because you do,
mhm.
we both have duties to the house. Unfortunately, I can't make my own schedule like that, so
Right,
it's
right.
something that you can be more flexible with. Um, I think it'll reveal itself as you kind of force yourself to have a schedule and a
Mhm.
routine, which is not something I think that you're necessarily used to forcing
No.
yourself to have. So I think that if you go through the pain, you'll see what feels good
Right.
and what remains terrible.
Yeah. So this week is the first week that I will be doing my schedule. So I
Hmm.
will let you all know next Sunday
Yeah,
how
how it
that went.
went.
Yeah. Um,
And I'll keep you accountable for things. Like I said, I'm gonna plug a couple of like the big things into my phone
mhm.
to like ring
Be
me
like, what
to
are you
remind you.
doing?
Yeah, are you working on blah blah blah? What's up? And try and get you. I don't know. Try and make you feel good about having that sort of disciplined schedule because I know it can be difficult.
Hmm.
I think for me personally, I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it till I figure this out. I still have yet to figure out a way to balance everything that I do. Um,
Mm.
so I guess I'm a
Mhm.
little bit of a workaholic.
Mhm.
I have a hard time saying no to consulting clients. I just have a hard time saying no to like extra. I have a hard time saying no to money, is what I'm
Mhm.
saying. And so I got to start getting a lot better, not just with my time, but realizing like when it's time to say no to certain things.
Mhm.
It's nice to have X amount of extra dollars or whatever,
Mhm.
but to what end?
Right.
I don't want to
I
run myself into the ground just for something as futile as that.
Right. I do think something that we are going to do, we're planning an episode on this in the future, but mindset has a really big impact on you
Mm-hmm.
and that. And like when you're not feeling good physically, you start doing a lot of negative talk. And it's the times when you're doing a lot of negative talk that I've seen you feeling overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that'll be a good topic when we get around to that. But I
That's true.
think maybe this week you can work on just like a little more positivity.
That's true. Positivity is important. Positivity, and I think staying more regular and more disciplined with my fitness helps because
Mhm.
whenever I work out, I feel good for the rest of the day.
Mhm.
And if I can keep eating well for the rest of the day, I'm already naturally just going to be
Mhm.
up like a few
Right.
points in positivity.
Yeah.
So well,
Where are you on your play?
oh, that's right. I'm
You
supposed to
have a
schedule a
reading
read. Yeah, the reading's scheduled.
You just said I have to schedule a
Oh
reading.
no, I said last time we talked, I still had to schedule a
Right, no, you
reading,
did.
but now it's scheduled. The play is ready.
So that's another
I have to
thing.
confirm people and just send it off to them so they have
Yeah,
enough
yeah.
time to read it. But I scheduled it so far in the future
Mhm.
at the time. Now it's getting like it's 2 weeks away. Um, that I kind of forgot that I did
Yeah. Do
that.
you
Not
think
in a
you could
bad
send
way,
off the
but like,
play this week?
hmm?
Do you think you could send it off this
Yeah,
week?
I'm gonna give it like a once over just to make
Yeah.
sure there's not much many grammar errors. But I also don't care about that at this point. There shouldn't be many, and so if there are, it's only friends who are doing this with me. I just
Mm.
would rather
Right.
get it to them
Right.
as soon as possible. But yeah, so I did it. One thing that I was supposed to do that we never talked about on here, but I was going to submit a 10-minute play
Mm.
for a thing, and I just never got around to finishing or figuring it out. That was kind of a mixture of writer's block and not managing my time well enough with my extra work.
Mhm.
It was actually like half and half
Do
those
you
two
have
things.
set days when you're supposed to be doing your extra work?
No
So I think that's the same thing that I deal with on a daily basis is that I
books.
don't have set times.
Yeah,
So I think maybe if you give yourself, you know, Monday is boop day,
yeah.
Tuesday is boop boop day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those two.
Mhm.
No, you're right. And I think, one of the things that you've been gracious enough to let me use your car
Mhm.
to get to work when you
Oh
don't
yeah,
need
we're a
it.
one car in LA family
Yeah, it's
because
not
we're
the
crazy.
easiest. But I am kind of discovering that maybe the bus is for the
Better.
best right now if I'm going to have all this extra stuff. That's where I get most of my work done. And on days I have the car and don't have that, I don't have the energy to do it later, really.
Mhm.
Or at least not to the fullest of my
Mhm.
abilities. Um, so there you go.
Cool.
That's things I feel like I need to get better at that I've been faltering on lately. I
All
guess.
right. So next week we are going to report back on how my new schedule was.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Also, how working your consulting gigs on a schedule
Mm-hmm. Get
went.
myself on a good,
Yep.
a good cadence.
Yep. And then I think we're gonna have to figure out and decide whether or not we're gonna do dog training or a specific day where we do
Mm-hmm.
our own quote unquote dog training.
That's true. We'll figure it all out. But I have a few ideas for that.
Ooh,
Yeah,
so we'll talk about that
I'm
later.
excited to
Awesome.
discuss.
Cool.
Great. How do you feel?
I feel good. I'm pissed that we went so long without doing an
So
episode.
that's one thing I wanted to bring up. Actually, thank you for reminding me. I think like on
Mhm.
air, it's not live, out loud, that we are going to be regular, barring any extraneous circumstances. For
Mhm.
example, we're going away for a weekend in a couple weeks. I don't foresee us being able to record during that weekend because we'll be on like the Central Coast.
Be so cool though.
It would be so cool. We could. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that like that's
No, no, no. Listen.
no, no. What?
Okay, so I think on this, we need to do an episode once a week for them. So on weeks that we know, we have to do a double episode so that
Oh, bank
we
them.
can,
You're right.
yeah,
We did talk about this a little
yeah.
bit. You're right. Right.
So yeah, so we promise that
We
you will have an
swear
episode once a week.
till the day we die, and we're dying on the same day. Yeah. No, we will. We
So,
will.
yeah.
It's not hard. That's the thing.
It's not. It's so
not
easy.
hard. This took us 5-10 minutes maybe to set up and talk about and
Right.
prepare for.
So yeah, you guys can do a podcast too.
No, don't encourage competition.
Alrighty, we're done.
We're great. So I feel good. As always, meeting adjourned.
Get shit done.
Get shit done.